All right, anybody out there? We're just hanging out waiting for the non-farm payroll report. Um, and we're going to watch the market jump over the next 15 minutes, see how that behaves. Din-it. I'm just going to put it on mute and carry on by myself over here. All right. So sometimes this happens too. Basically, we're watching the market, and nothing's really moving. Interest rates aren't moving. Payrolls aren't moving. Hey, good morning, Tommy. So basically, this was a null report, and the report trade isn't really happening. We still have a little while to go, and I'll point out what that trade report is. But everybody had the expectations of the 25% basis point hike due to the Fed meeting this week. So this was rather muted. Everything was rather muted. Um, but normally, what happens is either bonds, the euro, or the S&P rip on the announcement of the report. Um, and you watch that for the first half hour, and you look for the strongest bar on the close of that. So the announcement comes out at 8:30. At 9 o'clock, you look for the strongest bar on the half-hour chart. And then from 9 to 9:30, you look for a retracement of that bar. And then from 9:30 to 10, you look for a break of the high or the low, depending on which way the bar ripped. The first bar ripped, and you take that, and your stop goes below the second half-hour bar, and you just ride that, and that's usually the trend for the day, and that's a good swing trade, a trending trade all day. It works really well when you're watching futures and you use the S&P 500 futures, the Euro futures, or the 30-year bond futures. And again, you just take the one with the strongest move, and you try to catch that trend for the day. But there are times, because of news, that the response to the report is muted. I mean, this wasn't too bad. The market came back about 20 points, but that's not really what we're looking for. And to tell you the truth, we won't really be able to identify the trade for another half hour or so. So we'll just keep our eye on that. But for the time being, I'm going to be rather quiet, just attend to things, watch the market, get myself geared up, and see what's what for the day. I'll catch you guys in a little bit. Or you guy.
Work didn't stop when the light failed in medieval times. You would go indoors and make stuff. How did you create light? I've got some tools, let me show you. If you were poor in medieval times, you still had need of a kind of light for evening work. Especially in the winter, the evenings actually were quite long, the workday probably finished with the sun going down. What did you actually do to light the inside of your house? Candles were very expensive. They were made of beeswax, they burnt with a bright light, but they were really reserved for the clergy and the nobility. If you couldn't afford beeswax candles, well, there was another form of artificial lighting available to the medieval person, and it was something you could make yourself, really quite cheaply. It was the rushlight, and we're surrounded by the raw materials needed to make that light form. These are medieval rushes. These are the core ingredients. The reason people used this kind of plant was that it has a spongy centre, and that spongy centre is one of the key components to make a rushlight. These are traditionally harvested in the late summer or early autumn. I think that's because they're probably the chunkiest of their growth phase, and they do the job better. It also might be because it's a convenient time to actually harvest them between other jobs. That's often the case in medieval times. You had a spare week, so let's go and make some rushlights ready for the rest of the winter. It's a different kind of species than ordinary grass. This is just ordinary grass. This rush grows in fairly boggy, moist conditions. It's not particularly wet here, but the ground does remain damp for most of the year, and it does flood a little bit in the winter. So I presume that this particular type of species likes being here. So we will cut some of these with this tool and take them back and do the next stage. I'm going to harvest some rushes now, but I need 2 bundles because there's a bit of an experiment to do. There are 2 different sets of instructions in the medieval period. And as always, if you're harvesting something, only take what you need. I'm not going to take too much from any one plant so that it has a chance to grow back next season. I try to make sure that I do as little damage as possible to the environment that I'm living in. It's taken me a few minutes really just to get a modest bundle of rushes. The leaves are interesting. The leaves of the rush plant are actually quite sort of sandpapery. They've got quite a grip to them. Almost feel like you could get paper cuts from them. But the stems themselves, they're quite variable. There's lots of different thicknesses to them. So that's going to be interesting. And apparently, rush lights are very variable. They're very cheap, but they're very variable. So we will do some experiments and see. But meanwhile, I'm going to go back to base and start the next phase. Here are half of the rushes I've gathered. There are 2 sets of instructions that I'm aware of about making rush lights. One of them says, put your rushes in water and then dry them. The other one says nothing about that at all. It doesn't tell you how long for. It doesn't tell you anything about the type of water, running water or stagnant water like this. I'm going to just use this and I'm going to do it for about a week. I have no idea whether that's far too long, not long enough. But I think because they were cheap to make, chances are it was fairly quick. So let's tie these up. Good bit of baler twine here. But I'm not going to tie them very tightly because I don't want to crush them. I just need to be able to pull them out of the water and keep them together so that they don't get completely separated in the water. That's not too much. Right, I'll just chuck them in the water, see what happens. Leave it like that. It's floating, but we'll see what happens after a week. It might sink. Here we are a couple of weeks later, and these are the rushes that were soaked in water for a week, and they've been dried subsequently. And this is the pile that has just been dried. I have to say, I can't see much difference between the 2 at the moment. I have no idea whether there'll be a difference later on, but so far it doesn't look like it makes any difference whatsoever. What I've got to do now is I've got to peel some of the outer away from this to reveal the inner pith. And what I've noticed immediately is that quite a few of these thinner rushes, perhaps younger or maybe a different species, actually don't have any of the pith inside them at all, which is a bit disappointing. They're literally hollow, so they're not going to be any use for the rush lights. So obviously when you pick the rushes, you have to be aware of that, and I wasn't really aware of it, but I now know the difference between the rushes with pith inside them and the rushes without. So you can see the inner layer, the foamy core of the rush. And this one's actually come apart quite nicely. So this is the piece that will form the rush light. So I'm going to do a few of these, and then I'm going to soak them in tallow, or in my case, cooking fat that's come from some meat I had left over. I've rendered the fat. I've just put it in boiling water to try and get much of the meaty stuff out of it, and this is just animal fat. I'm going to melt it and soak the rushes in that and see what it does. My guess is the cheapest way of doing this is not to prepare it for too long, because if you prepare it for too long, you've used up lots of fuel. So I would imagine that you get the smell of whatever it is you've been cooking. So what I'm going to do now is take a nice Pyrex dish. It's not very medieval, but it's all I had. You actually do find there are some special dishes that were constructed, maybe a piece of wood with a hollow carved in it, but I haven't actually got that yet. And I'm just going to use this nice Pyrex oven dish and the fat, and I'm just going to put a bit of this on here. So what I'm going to do is take the fat, and I'm going to use a heat gun to melt it. I find this a little safer than using an open flame or doing it in the kitchen. And obviously, you have to be very, very careful. This stuff is quite flammable. You need to keep a careful eye on it. So be very, very careful with what you're doing. So just use the heat gun to melt it, to create a fluid fat, which I'm then going to soak the rushes in. So you just soak your rushlight core into the molten fat, whatever it is, tallow, beef dripping, in this case is lamb, and it smells quite pleasant actually. It's from my dinner yesterday, and saved a little bit of the fat, and I'm making rushlights out of it. Once it's soaked like this, you put it on one side and let it harden, let it cool down and harden. If you want to speed it up, you can of course put them in the fridge. Medieval people didn't have fridges, so they would have just let it harden over time. And we'll come back in a few hours and have a go at lighting it. Well, I've had a few false starts. It's taken a while. It's a bit more complex than I thought it was going to be. You've got to find the right rushes, you've got to prepare them properly, and you've got to have the sort of the right mixture. But I think I've got one here working, so I'll use this beeswax candle and light it. There you go, it's not too bad. It's actually slightly bigger than a beeswax candle. It burns quite quickly, I'm quite surprised. But yeah, it's been a bit of an adventure making this. And yeah, not too bad. So in summary, rushlights are much harder to make than you think, but they were ubiquitous in the medieval period, and they were very cheap. But I actually think there's quite a lot of skill in being able to make them. And I don't think I've mastered it yet. Warriors have to be at peak fitness to do their job properly, whatever the period of history we're talking about. This is a modern-day British Army 24-hour ration pack, scientifically designed to keep the fighting person fit when they're in the field. How does it compare to what might have been eaten by a medieval knight? We have been trudging through the mud and we've ended up at a modest inn, and we are going to have a look at what might be called peasant food. I have with me a fantastic historian called Chris, who knows all about the sort of food of the period. We've got what looks quite simple sort of set of things here. Do you want to sort of go through them and explain? It looks like bread.
Absolutely, yes. Bread was actually a distinguisher of status in the Middle Ages, and
Right.
this is a lower end bread. It's made with barley flour and with rye.
It's sort of brown coloured, which sort of in our era sort of is posh bread. Isn't
Absolutely, it's entirely the opposite way round.
Right.
In the Middle Ages, the browner your bread, the poorer you were.
it? Right, interesting. That's rather lovely. I'd like that. I probably paid more at the supermarket for
Absolutely.
it. But back then,
But back then, this is the food of the peasant,
Right.
because there's more effort that goes into producing white flour.
Right,
White
I
flour
see.
is just brown flour that's been sieved and all the goodness taken out of it.
right, okay. So bread, and this
We have ale in the cup.
fantastic. So you could drink booze at at meals, or
Yes, most people drank beer. There is a popular misconception that nobody drank water in the Middle Ages. This is not actually true. If you had a good source of water, you would drink water.
right.
If you didn't, you would drink beer, and you might start drinking beer from the age of about 5.
Is it similar to the beer we had today, or did it vary hugely? Presumably,
It was
from
very
place to place?
regional. It would depend
Right.
on the quality of your barley, your hops.
I also noticed you had fish there, and that looks like salmon to me. Chunky steaks of salmon.
It is indeed salmon. Yes, salmon in the Middle Ages was peasant food because it was freely available in rivers.
So yet again, a kind of reversal of what we expect. So salmon today is very expensive. Those are probably quite expensive chunks of salmon. And we have brown bread, we have booze, beer, and we've got salmon. So that's actually seems like quite a hearty meal.
It's quite nice. Yes.
And you've got some little bit of greenery and things here. What were you going to do with this?
Well, you're going to do this.
Okay.
This is your hard work, though. You're going to have to earn your supper. This is actually sorrel that I picked from my garden yesterday.
Right.
And you're going to grind it up. There's some salt in there. And you're going to grind it.
Yes.
And then we're going to strain it through this piece of linen cloth. And that is sorrel sauce.
Sorrel sauce.
From an absolute genuine medieval recipe.
You had to work for your food in medieval times. We've gone back to basic ingredients. Fish from the river, bread, a lot more effort gone into making the bread, and you've got me pounding vegetables from the garden.
I also have cooking away on the fire a peas pottage. Pottage is anything that's cooked in a pot.
Right, so you're really describing what you're doing, like
Yes.
frying, so it's potting it.
So
And peas as in peas?
peas, garden peas, with some
Mixed with anything, or?
with some stock and some herbs. It's
Brilliant.
basically medieval mushy peas.
Right, fantastic. And you're cooking on, it's not an open fire as such, it's coals, isn't it? It's
It
not
is.
really flames.
No, it's charcoal. One of the things that you don't want to be doing, even if you're cooking over wood, is having a blazing fire because you haven't got the heat.
So again, when we see on film and TV, we see Rory fire a pot over it. It's in fact
Wrong,
completely
I'm afraid.
wrong. You burn yourself and it's not very hot. I have to say, it seems to be cooking very efficiently, actually.
It is remarkably quick.
Yeah.
It's more like using an auger.
Right.
So you've got your hot oven and your cooler oven, and you move things about depending on what you want to do with them.
So
it's-
arguably, all those people with nice country houses with Argos are in fact
That's medieval
peasants.
and they're eating they're lovely.
And we're eating on...
Yes, I am. Are you hearing that, Tommy? Wow. Looks like my mic is up high too. Okay, desktop audio. That's probably what's doing it. Now I'm learning about medieval
Artisan bread.
Artisan bread, which is peasant bread. So sometimes we get this impression from film and TV that peasants are sort of eating...
Oh, that's too funny, man. Yeah, I was learning about how to make candles out of natural material.
Staples for the average peasant working in the field would have been bread, beer, and bacon.
Bread, beer, and bacon.
Most people reared a pig behind their house.
Right, which pigs eat a lot of waste.
Yes. The pig would have been slaughtered at the beginning of the winter.
So yeah, they were showing you how to use the grass reeds and animal fat. Ah, that's too funny. Sorry about that. Yeah, so now I'm just looking at what they eat medieval times, you know, just to get some ideas. Because once the season comes around, it gets a little warmer, and I don't cry about being outside in the cold. I'm going to start, my little foraging treks. So I take treks through the woods, and I find mushrooms and wild stuff that I could eat. And I know it sounds real corny and stuff, um, but yeah, I kind of enjoy that now. Huh? Kind of scary, man. When I used to be such an action junkie. Now I get into that, but it gives me an opportunity to be. Yeah, I muted it. Gives me an opportunity to be outside, be around nature, that and just something to do, chill out, walk, hike. It's good for the body. Good for the body. So yeah, I was watching that YouTube University, man. I'll tell you, dude, it's really an amazing time that we live because we have the opportunity um, to get all this information. It's just such a trip, and I just love it, dude. I wish I could just like plug myself in my body into the internet, just download all this shit into my head. Um, there's always something new, man. It's great. So it's a great time if used right. I mean, regrettably, we people are just abusing it, and I mean they use it, spread misinformation or speak their opinion. I'm of the opinion that don't say anything or write anything you wouldn't say to somebody's face. I mean, you should have the same courtesy and manners using the internet. Um, but yeah, it's a good resource, man. So I was looking at what people ate back in the day. Back in the day, and I'm also looking for ducks. Oh, what are we having? You got to mute you right. And good morning. Nah, not corny. I worked at. Did you really? Oh man, I loved Williamsburg. I loved it. I bet um it was maybe 2 or 3 years ago. I went through. I wonder if you were there. I bet you saw me. Um, I was there with a beautiful Asian woman and two exotic young girls. And if you saw me, you'd know me. When it comes to volatility, implied volatility. Um, how do you know if it's low or high? How do you know if it's low or high? Yeah, you know what? It would be relative to the security and what its trend is. Yeah, what it normally holds. So yeah, that's what your VIX is, right? Your VIX is implied volatility on the SPX. So I mean, your higher low volatility, yeah, would be determined by what you're looking at and what it normally is. Yeah, you got to look at the average range and if it's above it or below it, really. So you kind of, if you could graph it, you could just run a midline and then figure out where it is based on that midline of the average. True, true, true. Hmm. Well, yeah, I mean, it depends on what you're looking at. Yeah, the VIX would be a good indication depending on what you're looking at for what instrument you're looking at. Mm-hmm. Look at that. It's like all kumbaya up in here. Mm-hmm. MU, Ford, and Apple. Cool. It's a good rule. I'll probably just watch the report trade and then back off. I'll look at what the volume's doing, but yeah, I'll probably just watch the report trade myself and back off. Although it was muted and there's really nothing. So usually on non-farm payroll day, I just make that trade. I do the report trade and then I'm done. And I'm usually done by 10 o'clock. But I'm sticking around probably for the rest of the day, or at least until around lunchtime. Let's see what's going on. I'm actually searching for ducks. I want a couple of ducks. I'm quite lonely. A couple of goats too. I just have to settle the boat up towards the end of the month, and then I'll probably get a goat or two. Dow's down 300. Wonder if they're just going to sell off so that there's no risk over the weekend. Hey Maria, if you're new to the channel, go ahead and hit that subscribe and hit the bell, and then you'll know when I'm up or when I post a training video or something. And if you could hit the like, I'd appreciate it, man. It's good to be loved. And if you could tell 1,000 of your closest friends about us. I'd really appreciate it. Hmm.
Bella Burton has a rare condition that limits her mobility, and she's spent plenty of time in hospital as a result.
Yeah, we lack a little professionalism here on off-grid trading. So what are we looking at? It's 9 o'clock, and oh, look at that 240, huh? Yeah, yeah, we're looking at a relatively strong down day. It looks like that 240 is going to break that low. So that's where our bias lie. It's alright. It's alright. We could work with that. Mm-mm-mm. 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 Yeah. Well, you could go back and see. I mean, I do that too, Tom. I leave them up there, and I like to see how they affect the trading. Um, and it's interesting. It helps you read and makes you dig into the charts, and that's what you want to do. You just want to be proficient on reading charts and stuff. So but once it starts inhibiting the your visual on the price action, yeah, it's about time to clean it up. I just started cleaning up some charts last night, as a matter of fact, getting rid of some stuff. And you end up laying them again because, I mean, it's basically very close or relative in the pattern. So you end up laying it out once again. That's good. Paper trade, paper trade, paper trade. Then you put your money to work. Mm-hmm. Feeling rather distracted today, too. I wonder how my trading is going to be. Mm-mm-mm. Yes, ma'am. Be patient. So if you look at the S&P's close yesterday, if you look at these like this 2 minute, it looks like it's building a head and shoulders here, right? But now we're going to open up down 20, so it's going to blow up that whole pattern. Provided we open up down 20, we still have a half hour. I mean, we could rock it back. Although the Nasdaq is holding its lows and the Dow is holding its lows.
least likely, most hopeful. Right. Yes. The question, obviously, that many people could ask, and we have. The answer is where is moving on the scale of erratic to suicidal. Right. I think most people are hoping he's still on the erratic side.
Mm-hmm.
The other way to look at it is, looking, okay, so it's French market's down 3.7, and you could say like Davis have a lot of banks, French banks, but look, everybody here just thinks that JP Morgan is a French bank. That's what happened when it spun in 2011. They're not. So what happens is all these, and I'm going to talk about Trudeau when we get a chance, but there's just this moment where you just say everybody's guilty, everybody's connected. So we're going to talk about the differences, though, between U.S. and Europe today, dollar and euro. But first, let's go to Amy Jabbers for more on the conflict. Good morning, Carl. In the last hour, NATO Secretary General Jens Stoltenberg said the military alliance is not planning to put boots on the ground or airplanes in the sky in Ukraine, despite those horrific situations that we've seen unfolding in the Middle East. Our assessment is that we understand the desperation, but we also believe that if we did that, we end up with something that could end in full-fledged or even more many countries, posing much more concern. Those comments coming despite the apocalyptic pictures that we saw coming out of Ukraine last night. Russian forces attacking and shelling Europe's largest nuclear plant in Ukraine. The video showed what appeared to be tracer fire as round after round impacted buildings on the site of the plant, igniting a blaze at the facility and prompting Ukrainian officials to appeal to the West desperately for help and warning of a meltdown that could be bigger than the Chernobyl disaster. By daylight, though, the photos were more reassuring. Fire crews on scene, buildings smoking, but the blaze contained for now. Officials said no radiation was released in the incident. In a bizarre twist, Ukrainian officials said Russian troops have taken control of that site, but they're allowing Ukrainian staffers in the plant to operate it today. 3 Ukrainian soldiers were killed and 2 wounded in the attack overnight. Officials said the building that sustained the most damage was a training center and not part of the nuclear reactor. I appreciate that. We'll have a lot more from you, of course, later on during the day. We do want to touch on the jobs number. Non-farm payrolls of 678, well above the forecast of 440,000, and that boost comes as a lot of the Omicron cases have eased. Unemployment ticks down to 3.8. Average hourly earnings flat month-on-month, which was the big surprise. June year-on-year 5.1. Prior was 5.7. Oh, do you know how much work will be up? Well, look, you can't asterisk nuclear, but these were like your J values. Say, you know what? When I tell you, it's starting to come back. Labor force looks like that David was Omicron. You eliminate some of the benefits. People looking for jobs again. There's 11 million job openings over time. Maybe in the next 6 months they'll be filled. And this is what I told you. Right, although your text the market would be up on this. Let's see the reaction of the bond market. Everybody thinks the Fed's going to go even tighter, and so then we end up not up at all. It's just hard. The wage increases were right. What is Powell like? He wants not a lot. He wants some wage increase because he actually believes that people should work, but let me get those to CEOs and fun. He wants good job growth. He wants lower inflation. And he's just not getting a lot lower. 3.8%. That is quite good. We've got commodity inflation everywhere. I mean, wheat, but we have a talent shortage across the board. You talk talent shortage. Yes. You talk to any CEO, and they talk like the Knicks or something. As well. By the way, we should go through virtually every single team in the New York Giants and see to CEOs, they will tell you that finding talent is by far their number one priority. Well, they're keeping them. It's priority. Engineers, like they just need engineers, and then that goes even there across the board. Labor shortage in general. We need engineers, and we need truck drivers still too. We need truck drivers. We gotta make it so that truck drivers. So you can't roll back safely. But you can take that to your hands the way Costco did. They have 7 container ships, right? They have 7 ships that do these. Depot does too, right? Yeah, well, you can't be a
Am I up? I just like dazed out. Oh, this is gonna be a hard day, man. See, if I wasn't streaming, I'd probably just chill out. I'm just not focused today. I'm preoccupied with the weekend and what I could do. I want to do a ton of touch up in the house, and then I got to get outside, get the chicken coop in order. We got to change the oil on some equipment. A molto de fare, which is a lot to do in Italian. Italian.
So you have to be a little bit more giving. You can't get permits to be able to. Why? Like someone said to me, Jim, why don't we have Russian oil coming into Boston? I said, well, because we can't ship it from the south because the pipelines won't aren't allowed. And now, like we don't have pipelines that come from Houston all the way up to New York. We do. You see, there's a place called Boston that's north of New York. The Celtics play. You familiar with them? Patriots. Seller. What's your seller's too slow when it gets here? Can't get there. No. No. I'm like actually being. I'm not being facetious. What's pipeline underneath? People who's got pipeline once a year. By the way, just wait till they build a pipeline system for carbon capture. Nobody's gonna want those either. I'm really playing that excited. I play it inside card. I'm learning things, and that's the most that makes sense. It's far smaller. It's a bit of money, probably less significant. Not a whole person. Take a look at futures here this morning. Bunch of company. This is we have to including Gap. Got some news on Disney this morning. Jim mentioned Costco, Broadcom, Marvell, Amazon, Coinbase, all on the return.
What do we got? 15 minutes to party time. I know it's quiet. Hope everybody's working. Get the day done. I'm trying to get excited. It's just not taken. But it's cold out, so I don't mind. 13 degrees. Oh man, what am I doing up here? Damn Putin. Mm-mm-mm. Hmm.
plus offerings to consumers by introducing an ad-supported tier beginning in the U.S. David late 22, plans to go international next year. Something some of the street has called for Netflix to do. We'll see what it means for Disney. Yeah, the end of the release, the most interesting line the ad-supported offering is viewed. This is their opinion as a building block in the company's path to achieving its long-term target of 230 to 260 million Disney Plus subscribers by fiscal year 24. That is a lot of what Disney will continue to be judged on, despite the fact that obviously it's a lot more than just direct to consumer. It's a studio, it's theme parks, it's still ESPN, which produces a prodigious amount of cash flow, which helps, by the way, with what is a fairly large amount of debt. Sometimes we forget how much debt they took on to the dividend years ago. And remember when they ran into the obviously heart of the pandemic there, they had to close. But Disney's a success direct to consumer. The only question is how much. It is one of the dominant players. The only question again is how much, not just how big, but how much money they're going to have to spend to continue. Right? And that goes to the larger question that a lot of investors are asking these days, which is what is this ultimately going to look like as the competition with Netflix continues to increase for Paramount, for Warner Discovery, for our own parent company Comcast with its Peacock service. What is it all going to look like in terms of what you're spending on content to continue to make your service one that is robust enough to continue to gather subscribers, but at the same time actually make it profitable? And it's important as one way to try to do that. Right. And now again, people may say, well, obviously the market doesn't like what they're doing, and that's the opposite. But the market is focused on
What's going on here?
is impacting your step right that impact us. So you're going to see stocks that are down today. Unbelievable. And I want people to realize it's not just the first one. Now there's a lot of headline that says, look, the stock is down. Come up with a thesis why it's down. Well, the thesis is pretty simple. We're linked with Europe. We're linked with Russia. And when the smoke clears, or the radiation clears, and they do something like that, we saying, okay, who did well? And you look at Disney and say that was a good idea. Maybe we go back to Disney. Because Disney was down $2, and now it's only down $1. I'm not speech froze. I'm saying that please look through the prism of Europe, which is down horribly, and then make your decisions. Realize that there's some great opportunities. Now, we're going to talk about some of Europe's challenges. Like on the show, Euro is just getting hammered today. Set for its daily drop in about 2 years. We'll get Kramer's Smackdash and countdown to the week on the way. it's still elevated just south of 34 at the open. 6 minutes.
No, we're coming off the low a little bit at the open. We shall see where she goes.
It is Friday. We started with the last day of trading of what has been an eventful week. I say nothing of the all week as well. Let's get to a bad dash. I'm very impressed with the signing single CEO caps. So they have. See what she's doing? She's doing. There is a big and real turn. A lot of it, David, is at left, which is doing off the charts numbers. That's the doing great. Gap actually had a pretty good quarter. Old Navy had a good quarter. And I will tell you, the closed stores are not doing well. The stock has come down tremendously. It's come down too much. Sells at 8 times earnings. I think those estimates are going to be way too low. Give me the idea. Morgan Stanley says don't get too excited. The story isn't as good as people think. I think it is. I think it's been it's a turn to be noticed because everyone's given up. Right? Well, during the beginning of the pandemic, through much of 2020, was one of the best performance of the year. Oh, I hope they had let's do and then let's drop. Let's drop. Now we're losing. What it is you got to put a news frame and day frame. You still get that.
2 minutes. I'm going to watch the 30-second chart. See if I can't snatch one right at the opening.
The gap line is where we stand. Which is a real division. It's Sarah. Sarah knows that. She knows Sarah. She's communist now. She's so right. Yeah, let's go to Europe. Let's go where? Did see her tweeting on the dollar. Yes. Quite strong. Euro 110. Euro also get it for parity. Back here. I know. Yeah, I go a lot low. We go a lot to Europe. I'm telling you that you don't think it's cheaper. You just don't. I mean, it's just not like it's not like the Mexico. It's really expensive. It's not. No, it's not. You don't see it, but it's better than 120. I was almost 140. I had dinner and she, kind of a cheap restaurant out too high.
There it is. Have I freeze? Yeah, man, this is look at that. Lots of data coming through. This is trade station. This is a problem that it has. I'm taking this break. 26.75. Watching this flag on the 30-minute.
Jamie Dimon, ever since he made those intemperate comments about fintech, well, fintech's been down quite a bit of stuff, but it's kind of fintech.
Come on. Taking one off right here for $100. Put my stop at a break even. Being very conservative on my first trade. Taking my second, third off right here. No, that was a good move. Got 350 on that second piece. I'm trying to get 315 out of it. You know my stops at a break even on the last third, which is 27.31. So if it pops back up, I could get blown out. It may, and build a flag on the 5 minute, and I'd probably go back in on that 5 minute flag. I think the target is 308.
He's more than just cell phones. It's fantastic. Now, the one that should be up the most, I'm speaking my own role here, is Marvell. Like Marvell, number of price target cuts, but that's because it was in the 90s. Quarter was better than the book. But Tans has, he's got a great dividend. Am I at all relevant to you? I am trying to read through some things that people have, people text during the show. This is an interactive show, I think, with Walmart. You get text, I do. I actually got significant text sources. And yes, I'm listening to you. And I'm also reviewing something in order to try to add to the conversation. Is that okay? I've noticed that the banks are down. I'm wondering, is any of that concern you were talking earlier about European exposure in some way? Or is that shit?
Yeah, I'm out. So I'm watching this flag on the 5 minute now. Although we got a good one on the 2 minute building. I think I'm going to be conservative, trade the 5 minute, get a longer run. Am I delayed? Are you guys catching this real time? You guys hear my CNBC in the background. Let me lower that a wee bit. So these trend lines that you're looking at, well, not trend lines, these 3 lines, these are actually old lines. And I think they were opening ranges from way back when. I mean, even before, um, oh, that looks rather aggressive. Yeah, it could be one of those crazy days. Um, but you could see how it's trading within these ranges. So this midline is kind of forming a little resistance right now. And they're not there as a guide or an entry for anything I'm doing. It's old lines, but just always interests me how you develop these ranges. But it makes sense because that's where the congestion is, and that's where the consolidations are, or gaps. Well, this one right here, you could see this could be why I put it in, or maybe it just respected that. But this wouldn't have been put in this series, but you could see how it's kind of respecting that line. Back in the day, I had this guy, South African guy, and I used to have him catalog all of the lines that we put in so we could reference them back and go in and develop trading methods using it. Don't really do that now, but that's the difference between the professional trader and the retail trader. You have all this resource as a pro trader. I'm watching this flag about to develop, and the trigger point is 2181, and we're in it. I'm taking one off, moving my stop to a break even. Got 100 on that first one. Very conservative. Not a lot of momentum in the moves right now, so that's why I'm being conservative on my first off and my stops. So I got 2 trades off. I'm in a riskless trade right now, and this trade already netted me $100. I'm looking for the 308. Am I looking for 308? Taking my second off right here. And I'm out on my second piece. I'm at a break even, and I'm just going to leave it alone. See if I can close that gap. Am I even transmitting? Yep, I am. All right, cool. Oh, Tuesday State of the Union, they're showing. I am done with that cat. Get down on it. Get down on it. Yeah, breaking out in song. Such a joyous day. Right then. Hey, Fran. Good afternoon. Come on, you missed it. We're already in a trade. Oh, see, 14. See, that was my original second target, but I was a sissy and I took it at 16. Would have picked up another $50 or $100. Just don't whip back on me. 5 minutes looking very negative. Nothing really running. We're down 1% on the S&P. We're down a little less than 1% on the composite. We're down 1% on the Dow. We're down a little less than 1% on the Russell. So no bloodbaths here, but looks like everything's setting up flags. So we may keep moving. Moving. Why, oh why is that like that? I like my composite up across from my S&P. Visually more pleasing to me. No, come on. Yeah, it's probably going to knock me out on the next bar. Well, we took a couple of entries today, Miss Fran. We traded on the 30 minute, and we took the entry on the 27.31, and then we got stopped out. We got two off over there. We got stopped out. Then we jumped over to our 5 minute chart and waited for this flag to trigger. And we took the entry for the second trade on a break of the 2104, and we knocked one off at 1804, and then we knocked the next one off at 1624 or so. So we got about $1.50 and 250 on the first two, and we're leaving our third, and I'm looking for it to close this gap right here. So I'm thinking 4306, maybe I see 4308. I'll probably take the money and run. I got my stop at a break even, so I'm in a riskless trade. I'm already paid, and we in the driver's seat. It looks like it's fading out, so I think I might take that 308 if it takes it. Actually, you know what? I'm squeezing my stop right now, and I'm putting my stop at the 1782, and I think I'm gonna take it. Yep, I'm out right here. So that's a nice move, man. We got 21 um, down to 308 and a half. So you're talking about 12. You should have caught about 600 on that last contract. So that was sweet. We got, actually, I got 650, a 250, and a 150. So if you just traded three contracts, you got 8, 9, 1150. Isn't that cool? If you could handle 30 contracts, that's 11,500 for the day. We doing better than Putin. May keep running. I don't look back. And you'll find that I'm usually out and the things just keep going. Sometimes, I mean, there's really nothing here that would have told me to close it. I'm just not feeling the stress on the body today, just kind of chilling out. You could see the momentum on the 2 minute kind of fading. If I was really paying attention, I would have watched this 2 minute. You see that red? I would look for a retrace, see if it makes a double bottom, and then get out. If I wanted to try to capture that long trend. It's really not my nature. I mean, I trade in decent size. I get paid. I'm not that greedy. I don't have to make everything. I just, want to make enough to fill the fridge with steaks. See on the 32nd, it's kind of consolidating a little bit. She may keep running. And, so I trade different types of vehicles. So when I'm on the right side of the market, I'm making money all over the place. So I guess I'm kind of cavalier these days about my trades. But that's how you want to try to set yourself up, where it's not a big deal. When you're trading and you're trying to make money and it's important that a trade works out, or you got to make something too. Oh, look at that, man. See, I left a lot on the table. So you could almost say that that's bad trading. But I mean, my head's not into it. I mean, I'm even surfing the net while I got a trade going on. So, it's better that you're conservative when you do that. You have to be totally focused. I'm having a hard time ever since I left the boat. I'm having a hard time kind of zoning, and I'm all over the place. I'm not too mindful, but I'm not going to force the issue. I'm just going to keep meditating, chilling out, And yet, when I'm vibing, and I'm in the zone, that's when I'll take advantage of it. Yeah, I mean, this is like what my body wants to do right now, so I'll go with it. I'll have some pleasures, enjoy myself. The entry was okay, we're still there. So see that 2 minute is showing a wee bit of red again, but it looks like the momentum is doing a reversion. A reversion. Nah, it looks like it's tapering off. Oh, look at that. Damn, that's like $400 left on the table for that last contract. See, I don't like doing that either. I just like to make my decisions and be happy with it. So I'm not going to keep staring at that. I'm going to look at other lovely things. Well, actually, this is the one that I want to do that. Oh, today is the 4th. That's cool. I think, no, I think I'm done with all of that. So, Fran, and everybody else who's new here, if everybody's paying attention, I trade only a few setups, trend reversals, flags, things like that. Well, that's not true. I guess I take head and shoulders and stuff, but I'm pretty consistent on my trades, and it's nice and easy. I mean, you see those trades during the summer. Maybe we get off 3 trades a week. Really, summer's very slow. When the market's volatile like this, we can get a whole bunch off and do some good ones, make some money. But that's consistent with winter trading. I mean, summer trading is very, very quiet, very slow. You don't really make money like this. So I guess that would lend to the argument that I should be paying attention and taking advantage of the time. So you can see the return right now in the 2 minute. So I mean that's a big move. Who's to say I would have captured all of that? You could sit in it right now and wait for a double bottom. We're already back to the area in which I closed my trade, so that's always makes me feel a little better. If I managed it on the 5 minute, I would have. I mean, if I kept the stop, then I would have been risking that. I probably would have cut it in half, and that would have been right where I ended up closing it anyway. So can't argue with my decision. See, right here is where I closed my trade, so I can't argue with the decision. Who's to say I would have caught the bottom? Good day, sunshine. Is there anything in those trades? Mm-mm. Nah. Miss Mary Mac Mac Mac. Mm-hmm. Huh. Ridiculi. So if we look at the market, um, get an understanding of what transpired this week on the daily. Now we were just kind of choppy. Really doesn't tell us. All right. Beginning of the week was the 28th. Chop, 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 chop. Yeah, really nothing. A consolidation for the week. So hard to tell what the move will be over the weekend. I mean, we could just say that we rejected this trend line and maybe it'll push down, but just trying to figure out if people will be closing their position into the weekend. This afternoon, what the move will be for this afternoon. What to do, what to do, what to do. Hey, we've got some folks on there. Hey, subscribe, hit the bell, hit the like. I'd really appreciate that. And if you got any questions, man, drop me a line. Um, add to the contact, and it helps my algorithms. Really not a whole bunch going on right now. We had 2 decent trades today. Well, one really decent one quickie, one off. But we made some money, and that's why we're here. Kind of early for a trend reversal. Let's go down to our lower time frame charts and just see. Yeah, a little early for a trend reversal, but it is pushing back. I mean, we might get a V. Close that gap, and now we're running back, which is not a bad thing. Poof, poof, poof. Is there anybody out there? Yeah, that was a good rally back, man. Be interesting if we head on up and close that gap. Interesting. Look at that first 30-minute bar. And she's closed. That's not bad. You can argue a hammer right there on that 30-minute chart. Let's swing that over so we could look at that together. Together forever. Mm-hmm. There it is. There it is. Look at that. That's not bad. And we came down and we hit that 76% retracement. That's a little aggressive. This is not really orderly trading, but that 30-minute momentum was bearish, and because we broke that 76% on this retracement, I would argue that we're going to continue to push down to this next half hour. But we're right in the center of our opening range. It's going to be an interesting half hour. See how this trades. See, so we close this gap and then bounced right back up. I don't know if we're going to make that retrace. Maybe we could bounce up, close that gap, and then trade down over the next couple of days. You can consider taking a break at the low. It's going to be quite a move. I don't know if there's a lot more left to the trading day. Mm-hmm. Hmm. Mm-hmm. On the smaller time frame charts, what are we looking at? Well, you can see a trend reversal right here. We're getting into that the hour of trend reversal. So we could look for a hammer for an aggressive entry, or we could take an entry up here. See if we can't make that break to the upside. Um, Although we did quite a retrace, I don't know if it looks like a very good trade. I'm gonna have to turn off that. Let's go right from here to here. We already retraced most of it. We would need a turnaround really to make it worth our while. Because, well, let's open this up. You can see I went halfway between the gap. Maybe we go up a little more. So we hit like the 50% retrace. Now we're coming back down. So, I mean, that doesn't really count for a double bottom for me. Let's see if we just took it up to this move right here. Yeah, we're still around the 38 to 50. Here's the 50 mark. So I wouldn't really count that as a double bottom. I kind of wonder if we're going to continue downward and break the low instead of doing a trend reversal. Market's kind of in step. Everything's down the same, about 1%, 1.25%, around there. Let's see what happens when we test that bottom. Maybe away we go. Learn how to trade and make candles all in one place. But no contendo. Let's watch that bar. Look, so you see the momentum. This could be the higher high. This is where it really should turn around. You still got another 2 minutes. We'll see what it does, man. The low we're watching is 43 honeys. 43 honeys, man. I left a little bit on the table, didn't I? I got out at like 309, right? It's like 500 a contract more. That would have been a nice payoff. So many down trees around my property. Maybe this summer I'll get out there and cut a few down, make some firewood. Yeah, we might be on the down. I think I should be okay as long as there's no catastrophes over the weekend. What if I got a $1,500 exposure? I could deal with that. Oh, as Pistol Pete says, don't be in a rush to lose money in the market. I didn't catch that. Yeah, that doesn't really look like a trend reversal right there, right? See if we break that 300. Two minutes getting kind of oversold. We should drop this back to 5 minute. 5 minutes still has some juice. And what are we looking at on the long-term charts as far as oversold? Oh, we are extremely oversold on the 60-minute. So we should get a retrace. Probably retrace in about 18 minutes. 273 might be a good target by the end of the day. We're at a support right now. If we break 298.36, we could look for 42.84. We're oversold, so I'm expecting a little bounce right here. We may break it and then just do the bounce and then maybe continue to that 42.84. Things are just looking oversold all over the place. The daily's not oversold though. Just the 60 minutes oversold. The 30 minutes not even oversold yet. Because we had that little retrace. And if we could break that 73, then we're looking at 269, 268. Mm-hmm. 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 All right, if you look at that 5 minute, it's kind of rebounding a little bit, and the trend, this could be a trend reversal. So you could look for a retrace here. I mean, that's not really the bar that gives us that retrace. So you might want to wait for the break, but that's about 30 points. You know what? I don't even see a trade here. It's just the setups are just not laying out right. The best move is probably this break of the low. I'm not in it. You know how I am. I make a few bucks, I lose my initiative. Still apprehensive because of that oversold bar. And we broke the 42.98. So our next target is 42.84. And then 42.73. I think I'm looking good on that other trade, boy. Oh, it's the girlfriend. Yeah, we're having a lot of trouble around this area moving down. I think because we're just oversold, we're going to need a retrace, which I expect will happen in about 12 minutes. Not an aggressive one, maybe just a little consolidation around this area. And then we could possibly be able to move back down. Possibly. Which is what I suspect will happen. Making money is my forte. No diggity. Should I run to the city and chill with my kids? I don't feel like running around. Or should I just tell them they want to see their dad, they got to come here? And we're so servient to our children these days. When I was young, my grandparents used to say, children are to be seen, not heard. They used to chase us out of the room all the time. Go in the other room. Or our ass was working, cleaning the leaves out from under the bushes, screaming at the spiders, cleaning out the old sheds. I don't even think my children know what a mop looks like. Asian moms. Maybe I should have married an Italian and have well-disciplined children. Although my kids are good. They're just lazy. We can get rid of this for the day. It's funny that I even refer to them as kids. They're young adults. Oh, look at you. Push, push, push. We're definitely at the low end of this bar. Should have turned around 5 minutes ago on the 30. But if we look at the 60, then I think we'll get a retrace in 10 minutes. I don't know if we're going to take out that 270 mark before we do get that retrace. Just pulling back a little bit. 293 is our low. Watch for see if we can get a bear flag on that 60-minute. That's what I'd watch for, or even a bear flag on the 30-minute. It might be interesting. Still have 9 minutes on that 60 and 30. If we close down here, we're below. Oh, you know what? That's not even a good fib. I guess my fib moved. Oops, now I lost that. Keep forgetting to lock these things. Oh, no, that might be where I had set it. Let's change. Well, okay, it changes the game a little bit. All right, so my Fibonacci had moved on my 60-minute chart. So the numbers change a little bit. This is the 4,300 was the 38% retracement, which is good. We're below that, the 38% retracement. So 42.65 is the 50%. So right now, really, my next target is going to be 42.73. Man, I'm coming up a little short right there. I may be able to make a few bucks on that swing trade, though. Yeah, if we get aggressive. Mm-mm-mm-mm-mm. Have we even had a look at what the weekly is setting up like? Let's take a quick peek at what the weekly is setting up like. I mean, we still have the whole day before we could count that chart, and we'll take a look at it at the wrap up tonight. Yeah, it's not really telling me anything. Yeah, you know what? Wouldn't be surprised if we see 4,100 next week. I could use an aggressive push down on Monday, or close low today and push down a little tomorrow. That would work for me, in my very selfish views. Everybody's so quiet. People are fading off. What time is it? We're getting into that trend reversal time. I don't really think there's much of a trade in the trend reversal. I would watch the 5 minute for a head and shoulders, an inverted head and shoulders. I mean, this could be a flag right here. Depends on how much it retraces on the 5 minute. On the 5 minute. Let's put you back to a daily. Haven't heard from Wyatt today. I guess he's enjoying his Friday. Bitcoin didn't play out like I thought it would. Mm-hmm. I would close you guys for 15 cents. You know you want to. It's got to be confusing when I sit here talking to myself. So nothing's down 2%. That's usually an indication of a move. On the 5 minute, looks like we're setting up that flag. Some people call it three soldiers. But again, that 60 minute is really oversold. And we got a minute. So on the 30 and 60. So expect a little retrace when that minute rolls over to the new hour or the new half hour. Looks like that 5 minute might be getting ready to trigger right here. I mean, if we roll over into the next half hour and push down, it's going to feel pretty bearish to me. Pretty bearish. Energy's looking good. What's up with the data? Trade station is slow, slow, slow. Man, Virgin Galactic's just killing me. $30 seconds for that rollover on the bar. Let's see how it plays out. See if my crystal ball is operating properly. Yeah, see, it's pushing back into now the 60-minute is slightly oversold. So that's what it needs. It needs a reset. And this initial move down is usually the wrong move, unless it could break that low. It should change direction in about 15 minutes. See, now the 60-minute kind of reset, and in this range we were extremely oversold, but with that little bit of a trade back, well, okay, we were moderately oversold. Now we just went into extremely oversold territory again. So that could force the retrace. It's probably going to challenge the low and then bounce off of that. This is my expectation. I would like to see that 273 today. But we got pretty good support at 279.54. Guess that's the next area we have to break after today's low. 93.95 is the number to beat. Yeah, I don't think it's going to have that energy. Might consolidate here for another hour and then break in the afternoon, because that would be a really nice bear flag on both the 30-minute and the 60-minute. And if those two bear flags trigger, that's going to give it a lot of energy, a lot of energy. What do we got? Oh, okay. A little consolidation going on, slow time frame. Let's jump up to a 1 minute on that, see what that looks like. Yeah, it's feeling negative. Come on, break that low. I just don't like that 60 keeps going oversold. So I just feel as though we're going to get a bit of a retrace, unless, again, it just consolidates here for a while, and then we might be able to get a movement on it. I'm just thinking out loud. Composite's getting close to that 2% move. It's 1 3/4 right now. This is the hour of the retrace, actually. Really not seeing too many indications or any setups that really tell me there's a retrace. I see a little bit of a consolidation, like on the 5-minute around here, but really not a good setup for a retrace. Getting a little bounce off of those lows. Getting below that 4,300 is a good psychological mark. If we stay below that, we might be looking good. And the 10-year has come down considerably, which means that there's still more flight to safety. So people are kind of leery about the UK. It can't be the Fed because we know what the Fed's doing. The VIX jumped 3 points. So, yeah, there's a lot of fear in the market right now. There we go. We're about to challenge that 300. Man, I don't want you to go up. I want you to go down. Get down, get down. Yep. That was just too oversold to continue that move. So we're going to need a little retrace. As long as everybody doesn't get enthusiastic here, it should. And you know what? It's retracing a little bit early. So if it doesn't turn around in 7 minutes, then it's going to be a very aggressive retrace. And I'm just speaking out loud what's going through my head. All right, Mr. Tommy, enjoy your meeting. We hear from Anthony today? Nope, didn't join us today. Mm-mm-hmm. I'll let you have it for 4. Mm-hmm. Yeah, this looks like a consolidation. If it doesn't turn around and stop pushing up in 3 minutes, then it looks like we might be building a flag on the 30. I'm a beat, I'm a beat, I'm a beat. I have some pasta. Trying to figure out what I'm going to do for dinner tonight. Here it comes. Here it comes. 1 minute. May turn around. 5-minute momentum looks like it's going on the swing. This could be what's called a reverse micro trend right here. Let's put that down. No, you know what? I want to do that again. So that could be a reverse micro trend. Breaking that line could be a good move down. So right at this point, it should start turning around if it's going to turn around. If it breaks that line, good chance that we're going to make new lows. Yep, there it is, 295. It's got to break that. Test the low right now. 95.12, and then 93.95. Oh, broke that 12. 93.95 is the next move. It broke that. I don't have a lot of resistance after that. Close that gap. I'm already below that. That 81 might be the mark, kids. On the daily, it's a little high. We're looking at 224. Oh, we got some support at 42.79. Yo, and it ricocheted back. It's not for me to say. It was a 5 minute. So that was probably a run on stops. We'll see how this bar gels out because it popped down, broke all of those lines. So there was probably a lot of stops there, a lot of stop orders that whacked out those stop orders, but there's no selling behind those stop orders. So it pops right back up. That's why I do the one off and take my squeeze my stops and things like that. But it looks like it's regaining momentum. I'm getting a flag on the 2 minute. If it closes right around here, it might break that low and blow up that flag. In the 5 minute, it's getting slightly oversold. So we're still staying in oversold territory. That's why it's so hard to keep making that move down. Wow, we only have 2 viewers. Yep, sorry about that, folks. Yeah, we keep sinking into oversold territory and then trading back. So we're going to need a little bit of consolidation for a while to try to get that move down. Or we could be just building a bottom here and close up higher today. Down about 400 on the Dow. Nothing's hitting that 2% mark. Everything's about 1 3/4, except for the Dow. It's 1 1/3% Dow. No, the SPX is only a 1.5. This may be it for today. Hmm. 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 Nah, I got time, right? Mm. 87 by 90. I think I'm going to try that. Oh, why did I close that? There you go. There you go. So the 30-minute is still fair value. The 60-minute is entirely oversold, and the daily is fair value. I think 279 is our target today. I think that's going to be our low. And we didn't get that flag on the 30 or the 60 because we broke the high. So we may get a retrace and build the flag right here. All right. So we're probably just going to be churning around over here for a little while. I don't see a lot of action going on. So I'm going to take my leave. Remember, subscribe, hit the bell, hit the like. I'll have an end of the day wrap up for you guys. Watch for a flag on the 60 or 30 into the afternoon. Hopefully, we get another push down. So good luck trading.